大家好，欢迎来到 Today actually I want to share something personal with you. Like first thing first I need to introduce myself. I'm Ryan and currently I'm living in UK. So I was in a seminar kind of thing. So there I've seen something which is like actually kind of disappointing to say, but this thing just hit me. Like for example, in the schools, which are the foundations, for example, I mean the elementary schools, which are the foundations. From there you start from middle school to high school up to uni, and then you have a career. But like your foundation, everything just began from the elementary school, and from the basic level. So the topic of today is sometime propaganda. Propaganda, which like CCP is famous for. So propaganda. Sometimes it comes in a way like you don't have to assassinate someone, you don't have to censor something. Sometimes you just kind of target the youth, you just kind of target something, for example roots. Like as you know, for example, if a plant is growing, if the roots and the foundations, if you just kind of like fix that thing first, or like if you work on it, the plant, it is going to grow. For example, it is going to grow automatically, after all, if like the foundation is strong. So there was a topic there which I was there, by the way, and I was like listening to them, and also like we were having a conversation, and apparently they show me this picture which you're seeing on the screen right now. So this picture actually, they told me they put over there like in every elementary school. But as a typical normal, for example, foreigner, it do look normal. Like it do look like a normal picture. Yeah, there's a poem, and actually, even though my Chinese is bad enough like to understand its deep meaning, since it's a poem like something. But when he explained me the deep meaning behind it, I was like terribly shocked. Like this thing hit me. I mean, just by looking at this, what he told me, here you can see flowers and you can see sun. And as you know, for example, plants, they work on the principles of photosynthesis. They can't survive without sun. So what they're actually technically representing right now is the flowers. They are representing the children, the youth of China. And by sun, they are representing the CCP. So this technically means the dependency of these flowers are like they are directly dependent on this sun. Without this CCP sun, they are not going to survive. Like they are not going to live even for a day. So this kind of thing. And I even asked them questions about it, since this thing was very interesting. So I even asked them questions like, if this is in elementary school, what happened in the middle school, high school, in universities? So they say, like, for example, they have their own actually exams dedicated for it. Like for example, as you people, even though if you're a foreigner, if you're Chinese, of course you are going to be familiar with this thing called Gaokao. So there actually you have some exams dedicated for it. Like, do you know, for example, this book of Karl Marx or something, where they put it as a subject. Now, even though if you don't want to read that book or don't want to follow it, you are still doing it for the sake of good grades, which are appropriate or which are like important for you for getting a good admission, like in a good university. So this kind of thing, like they actually make it a system which is kind of unescapable. So it began from elementary school, then up to middle school, and then like the high school, where you will have exams. So even though if you will, for example, if you will be in a mature age of maybe like from 19 to up to 25 or something, like even though you will study in something, for example, higher standards like high school, or not high school anymore, but university or a college, still when you will be mature enough, you this thing is going to, like, you will make it like for example, it is going to be in your life, even though if you want it or not, it will be there. And even though if you will talk about it, since like back there for tens of, like for a decade or something, you are studying this kind of thing. So it will become like, you will just adopt this thing in your bones, like as a child. So for example, here word thing. So if you look at a, for example, typical Chinese family, who doesn't want their children to send it to school? Like I think it's everywhere. No one wants to, like, for example, or very few people wants to home tutor their children. But here, as you can see, if a child go to the school and he sees this kind of thing, then in the middle school and high school he will have exams for it, like exams dedicated towards this kind of thing. And then once it is finished, there would be something else. Who knows, like, this is kind of horrible. So when I was like, when my friends told me about this kind of thing, I was shocked, and I was really moved by this. So this is why actually I'm talking about this kind of thing right now. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. Thank you.